Do you believe in ghosts? I do. And you will too. When you come to this theater and see my picture, 13 Ghosts. When you see 13 ghosts, you'll be given a supernatural viewer like this, which will enable you to penetrate for the first time into the spirit world. It will let you see all 13 of our weird, wonderful, and wildly assorted ghosts.
Now, brace yourself as we take you across the threshold of our haunted mansion, where there's a ghost for everyone in the family.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Hi there, folks. I'm Pastor Recoil, and I'm here to share with you a message about
the monstrosity that is the blue waffle.
And do you know who else likes
Pin the tail on the hooker? That was fun.
Seder over at the-bunker.net.
You can't talk about the blue waffle if you've not seen the blue waffle.
Check out Transmissions from the Bunker at the-bunker.net.
It's creepy to listen to and go, yeah, I remember those noises.
Right.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Project Archivist. This is the part 2 to episode 12, Irish Castle Magic, with our conclusion with our interview with Mick and Roisin from ECPI of Dublin, Ireland. Okay, so you were saying that sometimes when you go into someone's house or something like that, that it's not always just a haunting thing.
No, we would have a procedure where we would interview the family, albeit the mother or the father or both of them together, but not the actual child, because we won't interview children below the age of 16.
Mm-hmm.
But we would do I have a list of 30 questions that I would ask, and I'm profiling the client as I'm asking them these questions, because we could get something that they're just saying it for a reason. The reason being that, well, they might think they're going to get money out of this by saying that their home is haunted. Well, we never say or sign anything to say that your home is haunted in any way. So, they could be, oh well, maybe we'll get we could sell the story. So you've got to be careful when you're taking on cases like this. We find that when we go to the home that depending on the age of the home and how long it's been since the home has been rewired with electrical cable and what have you, that it could be just down to high EMF that's causing the problems within the home. That's causing them to see and feel and hear things that's not there. They have nausea, aches and pains and everything else that comes with what high EMF does. So I would say certainly 90 to 95% of the time, that's what's causing the problem within a person's home.
Let me ask you this. Have you ran into any situations where you've ran into people with like teenagers? I'm told it's more often having to do with teenage daughters or teenage girls over the boys.
Yes, it is, because as they're going in and they're into puberty and they're starting to, I've got to be careful what I'm saying, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
You know what I mean? They're going into that time in their life where they're starting to change, and they start to draw in particular types of energies into them, especially if they decide that they want to dabble in something.
Yeah.
And it's not always drugs that they would dabble in. There could be a homemade Ouija that they would make up, or there could be what's called a cube. They could make anything like that, and they find then that they've got themselves into a situation where they can't get out of, and then the family then would I suppose the first approach, depending on their religious background, would be the Catholic Church or the local parish priest.
So you guys, I know you can't go into specifics about it, but you guys also do cleanse places as well if needed.
Yeah, I've got a medium on the team. David Grant, we would go in and do a cleansing on a home. It wouldn't be the burning of sage or anything like that. We use certain types of oils. We would do, depending obviously the cleansing would be videoed, and also audio would be done on it. Before David would start, we would try and get a feel of what's there first.
And I have to say again, you guys do not charge for this, correct?
Oh God, no, we don't charge anything whatsoever. Everything that we do at our own expense. If I was to get a call to go to the other end of the country, and I would go, and I would deal with it. If I couldn't deal with it, which is very rarely now, I would bring in someone to help me. But normally we've been pretty successful up to date. We've only ever had to go back to one location.
And you stay in contact with the people after you've done what you need to do?
Yes, we do. Yeah, and they're all members on our team page. They follow us as well and follow the team. They're quite happy. They're quite relieved as well when they find that that it's nothing paranormal either. The ones that are, it is on high MF, and they've been suffering. Some people have been suffering 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Without realizing that it's actually nothing paranormal at all. And but then again, it's with kids. You've got to be very, very sensitive as well. So we again, I can't discuss it. I can't go into it. But no, we don't charge, and we find as well that with a couple of experiences that people have had and have told us about when they went to the Catholic Church. Or they went to the local parish priest, particularly one case where I've heard of, and the priest has gone to their home and he's charged them to bless the home.
Have you also had situations, like I know over here in America, I've talked to many people where they're afraid to go to their local priest or their local church and say, hey, something is going on in my home, because they're afraid that they might get laughed at or ridiculed, which in my opinion really isn't cool, because that's part of what you're going to church for. That's kind of that person's job.
Okay.
Do you find that happens over there a lot of times, or you have a lot of people that are afraid to go to their local parishioners or anything like that, or is it more accepted over there?
Okay, well, I'm a member of the Spiritualist Union of Ireland. I go to a local Spiritualist church when I can. But even though I was raised a Catholic, I don't practice my religion. The church won't talk to us. They won't have any dealings to do with paranormal investigators.
No, because you're taking money out of their pocket.
Well, Jesus,
Well,
sorry.
I mean,
No, we don't get money.
No, not out of your pocket. I'm not talking out of your pocket. The church. They don't want anything to do with it.
They're not supposed to be charging for it to go and bless your home either, And we find that when they've gone into a home that they've more aggravated whatever's there.
Right.
If it is there. And then that's where, the family would approach a local spiritualist church, and then they would in turn put them in touch with us or another paranormal group.
Cool.
No, well, I've been lucky enough. Sorry for interrupting that.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I know that I had to bring, when my daughter was young, my daughter's 25 now, we had to bring a priest out to the house. I mean, my daughter was having conversations with what she called a man. And my next door neighbour come in to me one morning, and she had said to me, Roisin, that you really have got to stop talking tomorrow throughout the night. And again, we had the horrible smell and everything else in her room, and it got to the point then that she wouldn't sleep in the room, and we did actually contact the local parish priest, and he was very good. Now, on that occasion, and he came into the house, and he done lessons, and he done a couple of the other things as well. And right until we left the house 7 or 8 years later, we never had any more bother at all, and she was quite happy that, I mean, she was only a small child and was basically could only at this point say a few words, but that was my experience with them. But I know that the majority of Catholic priests do shun on that and really want nothing to do with it.
No, well, again, I'm not saying that every priest just looks for money or anything like that, and just that this particular individual did. And it's like mediums charging for to go, to do whatever. And yes, there are, and I know some of them very reputable mediums, but they're charged. But I mean, then again, you got people out there that are disreputable, and they would exacerbate the problem, and that's where we come in as well. when we go in, then we don't charge. The client is just be amazed that we're not charging. But why should we? We're more than willing to help, and to give people a better understanding of what we are about and what we do.
Yeah. Plus,
Cool.
you guys sign you also sign non-disclosure legal agreements and things like that.
Each person who signs the team signs a confidentiality clause. Yeah.
So you're not actually going out there trying to get a television show or anything like that.
No, not trying. Well, I'm not saying I'm not trying. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I wouldn't if given the opportunity.
Have you been offered any kind of a television show or anything yet?
Yeah.
But you're not sure you want to do it, or?
Early stages.
You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Yeah, we're
Early stages, huh?
It's early stages, yeah.
Ah, okay. So you can't. You're still in negotiation phase for it.
Well, I won't work on a script.
Excellent.
Excellent. That is the correct answer, sir. We have a winner.
Okay. It's already been said. I won't work on a script. If they want to do this, it would be done on my terms, and it would be done using my equipment, because I have copyright on everything. So I think if anybody be signing any type of legal agreement, they will be signing it with me, because I've seen it happening too many times with your own shows over there, where I used to like watching Grant and that until I found out certain things, and then I seen some of the YouTube video and what have you. I was amazed at what the guys were doing and what they were kind of forced to do because to get ratings.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's always the people that are in the television show that are causing the problems either. I've talked to people before that have been on various shows and things like that, and I think a lot of them are genuine. I think a lot of them are actually into what they're doing, but the television market in America, at least, views it as entertainment. They don't view it as some kind of a hard science or anything like that. So, I tend to wonder, that's why I was wondering with you, if you actually were to make it on television, would you be worried about it being edited certain ways or anything like that?
Of course, I think that would be that's my main concern, and how it's going to portray you and portray your team that you're working with on a regular basis. Do I want to show? I don't know. Would I like to? Would I like to make money for it? Who wouldn't want to make money?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't? But I did the type of money, the thing that when I say would I like to make money, I would like to make money. The way I would like to do it would be to better the team with better equipment.
Yeah.
Obviously, the holy grail is to get a full body apparition. The only way we're going to get something like that is through using thermal. You try and get a thermal imager, you're talking telephone numbers over here.
Yeah.
Just to get one of those. Same probably in the States.
Well, let me ask you something about going back to the castles again. You said you've been to a few of these locations over and over several times, and you're accumulating data. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you seeing a pattern with the data that you're collecting or anything like that?
It's much the same. You're getting getting the regular, if you want to call it, the regular energies that are there. Then you're getting the residual type of stuff that's obviously because of the location being so old. If you want to take Lep Castle, or if you want to take White's, you're looking at one of those locations alone being 800 years old. Okay, so you're going to get different energies at different time patterns and different time zones. So they're going to be coming up, and you're going to be picking all the stuff up, and some will react with you, others won't react with you. A lot of what we're picking up is residual. A lot of the sounds we're picking up is residual.
So you're picking up stuff that's been it's been there before. It's just repeating itself.
It's repeating itself for a particular time. Other stuff that we're getting up would say your name.
Are you getting things along the lines of magnetic readings and things like that?
No, when you say how do you mean on the meters themselves, or? Yeah,
are you getting like certain responses to certain situations, certain areas, or?
Yeah, we get spikes on the like of the K2. I know the jury is out on the K2, okay, but I've seen the K2 spike in areas where there is no magnetic field. Okay, you're going to get the normal natural magnetic fields that's around us everywhere.
Yeah.
when you're
that's what you get a base reading for, to get rid of all that.
Get rid of all that, yeah, and you know exactly what you're facing. You know by the readings and the actual measurement itself, whether it's natural or whether it's localized or whether it's a hidden cable somewhere. The like of the K2 meter, I find it's okay when you're using it in areas that has no power in it. We use other meters, but normally we would use the environmental meter to back up the other meters, which is a much more sensitive piece of equipment.
Wow.
We also use obviously the digital thermometers as well, and we also use a lot of obviously we're using digital recorders, and we're using now H2 Zoom recorders as well.
Zoom recorders are nice. They're expensive though.
Yeah, which gives us a 360 degrees of recording, and it doesn't just record in one particular area. It record the whole room for us.
What we used to do back with one of the groups that I used to work with, we would set up 4 microphones in a room aimed in different directions. So if a sound did come in from the room, we would be able to record each microphone had its own separate track. We used to record on an old Tascam 4-track. And that way we'd be able to pinpoint where in the room a specific sound came from to be able to try to get a little bit of hard data, like exactly where something was. Have you guys ever considered doing something like that as far as pinpointing?
We're going to get radio microphones and put them into rooms. The H2 Zoom recorder, you can also set that up in a room and get live EPPs.
Yeah.
You'll feel the sound where back down into your laptop, and you'll have the like of Adobe Edition or one of those, or WavePad or WaveMaster.
Yep.
And the operator is sitting there at the laptop watching the spikes, and then he can call you by two-way. A two-way radio to go into the room that's obviously been locked up.
Yep.
And to start saying certain things within the room, so he could see the responses back on the graph on the laptop. So that's another cheaper way of doing live EVPs. Then again, baby monitors as well is another way of doing it.
Yeah, the problem with baby monitors is because they've got the radio frequencies. You could pick up some stray radio frequency in the air or something like that. So
yes, as well.
I get a little leery about things like that. What's your opinion on things like Frank's boxes and Hack Shacks and things like that?
We have got Frank's box, and we use it mostly for display for the public. We would still let them hear it. I don't know whether I have any faith in it or not, to be quite honest with you. It's like table tilting and glass divination. Normally we didn't do them. It's only we started doing it there within the last couple of months or so, or a few months ago. And it was just to give people a visual.
Mm-hmm.
And especially people that we had coming to our open investigations and to our charity ones. And they wanted to get a bit of a fright. So we started doing the glass divination, and they were wondering where the glass was flying all over the place and why the table was tilting up and going across the room. But I mean, they didn't really know that it's all suggestive.
Yeah, see, the Frank's boxes, somebody had posted in one of the forums on Facebook that I hang out in, and they were talking about Frank's boxes and Hack Shacks and things like that in there. My personal belief, I don't put a lot of faith in them, because it's basically something that's just randomly scanning FM frequencies, AM frequencies, and so forth.
It's going up and down the AM band. And
you're
going to hear a lot of mismatch, white noise, everything else. Then you're going to hear what you think is a particular word.
Exactly. It allows too much room for your brain to matrix, and it allows too much for you to say, that's a word, that was a person saying this, or that was a person saying that. And it's not definitive enough for me to rely on, so I'm very, very leery of them. So I've also been... Go ahead.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
I've also been at paranormal conventions and things like that where people have actually shown how they can rig them. They'll be outside with an FM transmitter of some kind while the Frank's box is going. And you can also get an FM transmitter. You can plug them into an iPod of some sort. There's all kinds of them now that are out there. And the same thing with AM transmitters. And I've been to paranormal shows where people have said, all right, this is what this is. This is how it works. And then they'll do something and we go, oh, wow, that's crazy. I heard this and I heard that. And then they'll say, all right, come on in. And a guy will come back in with an FM transmitter and be like, this is how I did this, so this is stuff you have to look out for.
I know. It's like the way they showed again, one of the very popular shows in the States, how they were able to fake the K2 hits
by
using a magnet. I mean, that's on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
how they did that. No, we wouldn't. I have to say that we wouldn't fake anything on. Why it defeats the purpose of why you're going out there. We again, we're semi-spiritual and semi scientific group. We do have a medium on the team, but again, a medium is not allowed to overshadow an investigation.
All right, well, let me ask you a couple more things, and then we'll let you guys go. The next thing I'm going to move on to is, do you, as far as regards to ghosts, elementals, dark evil spirits, demonics, do you feel that these things can be categorized, or do you see all of this as some kind of thing as a whole in itself? Do you think that this could just be something that's out there just screwing with people, that it's its own entity, playing certain games or wearing certain masks just to mess with people?
Well, people have their own theories on what a ghost is. People have their own theories on what a demon is, I mean, there are some people out there that say that ghosts are demons and are demons in disguise. My own personal theory on it is, yes, there are darker and lighter forces at work, and they do play around. I mean, you only have to look at the state of what's happening in our world today to know that, evil is overdoing good at the moment, and has been for, hundreds of years now. So it's, to me, from our own experiences and what we're seeing every time we go out, we're getting the evidence that something is at play. Something is going on. As for demonics, I haven't dealt too much with it. I'm not saying we wouldn't. That kind of opens a whole new realm of where you're going into. We've never turned the case down yet.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you've been too afraid of any of them either, from the sounds of it.
Afraid? I think if you basically show any fear, why are you doing it in the first place, or why are you out there doing it if you're going to be
exactly. That's one of my big gripes with American ghost hunting shows. They'll go into a place, they'll say, there's something here, let us know you're here, bump something, and then something will happen, and then the people are like, oh my god, and they get all freaked out and things like that.
I look at Ghost Adventures, and the guys are running all over the place.
Because it's
pulling
really
their shirts off.
I would like to have some of that stuff happen to us, because I'm not saying that people don't get touched and people don't get prodded and poked and stuff. It does happen. But I suppose there are investigators out there and people listening tonight say, oh, he's talking bullshit, I've yet to have anything these experiences. Then again, it's what you're prepared to do to get the evidence.
Yeah.
It's what you're prepared to put yourself into, and it's how far you're willing to take it. Are you only going to take it to a certain level? Are you going to go on to the next level?
It also depends what you're looking to get out of it too. That's one of the things I'll tell people here. They'll ask me, well, how do I get into this sort of thing? And I'll say, well, what do you mean by get into this? What are you looking to get out of this before you even get into it? What is out there that you're trying to find? If you're trying to find scientific evidence, and if you're trying to prove stuff to anybody, don't get in this, because this stuff is already being found and it's not proving anything. If you're
my own theory on that is, I'm not out there. I feel myself, I don't have to prove anything.
Exactly.
From my own personal experiences, and I know it's not. I know what I experienced was not psychosomatic. From my own personal experiences and what's happened to me, I know what's happened. Okay, I'm doing it because I want to further validate it to myself that what did happen to me all those years ago was real, and not some figment of my imagination or figment of somebody else's imagination. And that's another reason why I went into this field.
Do you feel you've reached that point yet?
No, you'll never reach that point.
So you're still not sure of what you're seeing, and you're still not sure of what you saw?
No. Evidentially, we have enough evidence to say, yes, there is something there. And that, but we don't feel we have to prove it by going onto YouTube and putting this video up and putting that video up. We don't see the point in doing that. We always welcome the media out with us as well, to come out on an investigation. Stop bad-mouthing people and come out and do it. We've had a couple of people, pure skeptics, have come on investigations, but they did leave us once. as a skeptic.
Yeah.
But again, I believe it's there.
Yeah.
I don't feel I have to prove it anymore maybe to myself, yes, and to my teammates, but not to the general masses or the public or to the scientific bodies that what we're doing. I mean, that's why that word paranormal is there. Anything that's outside of normal and that can't be explained. If science can come in and still try and explain what that word paranormal means and give it a foundation,
then it wouldn't be paranormal anymore.
It wouldn't be paranormal, but they can't explain. But they keep saying it's psychosomatic, or there is a reason for it. Well, there is a reason for certain things that are presumed to be paranormal, but not everything.
Yeah, it's that you're echoing my words exactly. Well, Mick, Roisin, we've had you guys on for a while now. Thank God we're doing this conversation through Skype. The long-distance phone bill would be horrendous. But I've really enjoyed talking to you. I've really enjoyed hearing what you had to say. It's cool that you guys go out and check these castles out. I'd love to talk to you again at some future point.
Sure. Whenever you like.
It's been fun having you on. Lobo, did you have anything you want to say to him?
You know how I am on interviews. I tend to sit back and absorb everything, and then I forget I'm supposed to talk.
The silent partner.
Yeah, well, for the most part, yeah. I mean, if there's something there that I absolutely need to know about. I mean, there was one question that I had for you, Roisin. That was...
Roisin, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Roisin.
Because we sound so similar. Go right ahead.
In all the data that you've collected as far as historical data, what has to be the most not just interesting place you've been to as far as compilation of data, historical data, but also the most unexplainable and intriguing that you've been to, that you have this information about, say, a certain castle, but 1 and 1 doesn't add up to 2 for whatever reason?
For me so far, possibly Dunluce. Would you not agree, Mick?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we've had, Mick and myself have both been up there, and with the data that I have on it and the history with it and everything, that's the one place that I would say, wow, that really stood out. So it did.
Now, what about it stood out? What made it stand out to you above everything else?
Stand out, I think, for me personally, I suppose the history of it. Then, I mean, myself and Mick both experienced some things up there as well that sort of, clarified what I had learned about the place. There's a darkness to it as well. And I mean, I've one particular picture that, the one I'm talking about, Mick, where there's been some unexplained, I don't know what way you would call it. I mean, it's, I think it's actually on the CPI page, isn't it, Mick?
It's a mist, Lobo, that formed.
Okay.
And it's actually over a mass grave.
Really?
So, yeah.
And there wasn't anything that would have caused the mist. It was on a night that there would the atmospheric would be.
No, we've checked out all possibilities of humidity, and it's obviously on the coast. The north coast. Basically the furthest point up at the north of Ireland.
Right.
It's actually on a cliff, Lobo.
Okay.
You're looking at about 250, 300 feet drop.
Right.
If you add me as a friend, and then I'll send you on to it's just Mickey CPI, okay? And I'll send you on I'll add you to the team page then, and to look at these particular photographs and go on to Dunluce. When Roisin took the photograph, I went back up with her a couple of weeks ago, and I brought up a full spectrum camera.
Okay.
And we went back at the same time of the day, and we tried to recreate. Using the full spectrum camera, what she had taken. I couldn't recreate it, but I did get some anomalies.
Okay. Well, see, the only reason why I'm asking that is because I have seen what you're describing when it was so dry here, the grass was like potato chips. There's no reason why a mist should have formed.
Yeah, that's the same.
Yeah.
But I mean, the mist formed over basically a mass grave where the bodies of the guy from the Spanish, or the one of the ships from the fleet of the Spanish Armada, were actually buried.
Huh.
You know, and I mean, it's a stunningly beautiful picture, and I mean, I hope you get to see it. But you know, that combined with the history of the castle, plus what Mick and myself experienced, absolutely unbelievable, really unbelievable.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome to look at, to go ahead, guys, and look at all of any of our pictures and use wherever you like. They're on the page there, and any questions that you want to ask us about the pictures are there.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to let you go.
Okay, guys, keep safe.
Yeah, you too. Well,
thank you very
guys
much.
Keep safe for more than us.
Thank you.
You guys are you put yourselves in harm's way more than we do.
Well, you stay out of the wind there, Lobo.
You know what? I'm with you, brother. I'm with you.
Okay, guys, take care.
Take care.
Okay,
nice
guys.
talking with you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Well, that was the interview with Mick Doyle and Roisin. What'd you think?
Cool. I mean, it was again, the information that we were given was not what I expected, which is a pleasant surprise.
So what's your overall take about how they do things compared to how we do things? What'd you come out of that with?
I believe, without sounding like an idiot, their spin on the paranormal is vastly different than ours. Only because they go about things in a very different way. It's not so much that they're going into castles that are hundreds, if not thousands of years old. Around here, I mean, even the state I'm in, you're going into places that are just literally hundreds of years old.
Yeah.
So not only are you dealing with, over there, you're dealing with a generation, you're dealing with many, many, many generations that have gone through. So whether or not it's spirits or it's just memory of the building's been able to hold on to, or whatever it is, you have vastly more human interaction with the buildings and with the land than we have here. I mean, outside of the Native Americans, but as we all know that the Native Americans tried to their best ability to leave as small a footprint on the ground as they could.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Caucasians, on the other hand, we tend to light things on fire, put them out with a poker, and then stab it in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they do things differently. You could look at it like, everybody's doing the same thing. They're all coming from the same place. But my impression of what Mick and Roisin are doing is, I don't want to say they're doing it the right way, but they're definitely taking it from a different perspective.
Yeah, it's me and you had talked earlier, and the impression that I got was I came out thinking that they're very much like American ghost hunters without all the BS involved.
Exactly.
Exactly. They definitely use the equipment. They sound like they're coming from a right perspective where they take base readings and things like that. But again, also, it's like you said, they're going to these castles and stuff, but their attitude is much different. They're not. I could see you two going on a ghost hunting investigation, no problem. You guys would be the ones leading the charge, where me and Roisin would probably be outside drinking the coffee with brandy.
Nice. Nice.
But they definitely do seem to have, I guess, a different kind of respect for what they're doing. Another thing that I found way fascinating about Mick is Mick does do home investigations, and he does help people out in the residential, I guess you would say, aspect of things, but he doesn't talk about it. I gave him lots of ways to talk about it if he wanted to, and he talked about things very, very sparingly. They're not interested in capitalizing and going in and talking about how they've done this with people's homes and they've done that. They very much honor the things of we won't talk about what happens with people when we do home investigations. He's talked about a few things here and there with me, but he never dropped any names. But he was more forthcoming with me off the air about home investigations that he's done. He never mentioned any names or anything like that, but he did mention certain cases. But when the time came to be on the air, before he went on, I said, if you want to talk about this, talk about it as much as you want or talk about it as little as you want. We're not going to press you on it. And he never really went there. He stuck with the castles, and he did bring up some of the druidic stuff, and then we lost the communication there for a minute, and then we reestablished it when we went back. But he talked about the fae and the spirit folk and things like that. But they have a different approach and a different attitude about it over there, probably because they're so steeped in tradition and so much history is involved with that. And that was another thing. I wish if we had to do it over again, and I'm sure we'll talk to him again, I wish we would have asked Roisin more about the history of, and that's actually her real name. It's Roisin, which every time somebody would say something, I would think they were saying Roisin and kept stumbling.
Yeah, right.
But I wish we'd have had more of an opportunity to talk with her about the history of the places, because that's what she does. And but I'm sure we'll talk to them again. They're very approachable people. That's another thing, is they're pretty actively involved in our Facebook page, and they're there if you guys want to go on and ask them questions and drop something in the Facebook page, or if you want to join up with his Facebook page. Mick's really forthcoming. There's been people who've already gone on and asked Mick questions, and Mick's very forthcoming with information. I love talking to them. I thought they were great. They were really nice people. Just talking to them off the air, we were talking about, Irish stouts as compared to, stouts over here in the United States, and black powder guns and hunting. We have a lot of similar interests. That's another thing. Mick was a soldier, so he has that soldier mentality about going
21 years.
Yeah. So,
21 years.
That's probably how he can go into these investigations and stuff and not be all that afraid, especially when you're getting pelted with stones and,
See, that's where we probably differ. He's going in because he has a military background and has been, put to the edge of existence, whereas I'm doing that because I don't care. Come and get me. What's the worst you can do is kill me. I mean,
but that's what he says too. He
true,
brought that up in the interview. He said, "What are they going to do?" Yeah. So I do get the feeling though that they haven't ran into anything really seriously hardcore yet. But I don't know, because me and you have both ran into people that have ran into some really heavy stuff, and their attitude really changes when they run into something really heavy. That when you walk into something, you say, "Okay, this is a bigger gun than I can shoot."
I think that may have a lot to do with perspective too, though.
Exactly.
And these guys are coming at it from a different angle, a different mindset. You have, like was stated, Mick is ex-military. He's a ration. When you're in the military, I have umpteen friends that are in the military, and my brother-in-law is in the military still. And you have a certain mindset of, this is rational, this is what it is, move out of the way, this is what I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you have people that are quote-unquote laymen and are non-military. I don't want to say that they do have a different perspective, completely different perspective. And your focus of intent may be different, the way you're looking at it may be different, and your mindset is definitely going to be different. So something that, say, Mick or I or someone else that has been involved with something quote-unquote darker may have a completely different example or experience than someone who walks in and it's like, oh my God, I have to get away.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I'm like, come get me, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both interesting cats. Both
Absolutely.
very much looking forward to talking to them again at some point or another. Again, this was another show that if I'd have known it was going to go this way, I would have saved it for the Halloween episode, because that's probably when we're going to get a little woo-woo, as we like to say, the spooky factor. But for now, it was great. And I really wasn't expecting to get 2 hours out of them either. That's another thing I've noticed about our interviews. We seem to be stretching them longer and longer, getting more information. So
yeah, you'll get to a point where you're like, all right, we're going to close it up, and then something else pops into mind, or and they're on the line, they're willing to talk. Keep talking.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And they were. I get the feeling we could have talked to them for at least another hour.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have any problem saying it. You know, if it wasn't for upload limits and all that stuff, we could have talked to them for at least another hour. So I'm expecting another show out of them in the future. You know, probably within another 6 months. Yeah, so am I. But well, that was this week's episode of Project Archivist, and next couple of episodes are going to be interviews, and we've got some pretty heavy hitters on the way.
Yeah, we do.
And that was another thing me and you were talking about earlier. We're getting to a point now where we're beginning to discover that we have really fascinating fans out there. And
yeah, we do.
People that I didn't even know that listen to the show, and I'm like, you're listening to our show? You know, and after I talk to them, I'm like, wow, you've got some really cool stuff behind you. So we're going to start actually working on some interviews with some really cool fans that have really cool things to say that I had no idea were listeners of the show, which it's really cool to be able to. It's kind of reverberating back in on itself at this point, I guess you would say.
Yeah, you completely blew my mind earlier this evening.
You know,
I fell out of my chair when you told me that.
It blew me away too, but we'll leave that as a surprise for something on down the road. So, because I don't want to jinx it like I did last time when I said, "Oh, blah 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 is going to be on the air," and then the storm came through and nipped that. But that problem is going to be solved very, very quickly. So,
indeed.
I guess that's it. I guess we'll talk to everybody next week. So this is Rojan.
And this is Lobo from Better Connecticut.
Peace out from Detroit, folks. Peace. You are. You're being so weird.
I'm just like tired and
Weird.
dealing with stupid and just
Weird.
Oh God, now I got another one of these freaking. Ugh, I'm just gonna go out and kill this kid. Swear to Christ.
You know we're recording right now.
It's fine. You can put that anywhere you want. I'm gonna stab him in his throat. I'm just so tired of this.